Hi, I'm Jason Nelson, spiritual coach and developer of the Miracle of Voice Channeling program. My website's jasonnelson.info, and I want to talk to you about automatic writing or channeled writing. First, I want to explain several forms of spiritual communication, communication with a higher power, and then I'm going to talk specifically about automatic writing or channeled writing as a form of spiritual communication with your higher power. Okay, first of all, when I say higher power, it's a universal concept. So get in touch with, as I continue talking to you about this topic, what your higher power is, what you call it, what you believe in, and then that's what we're going to get you in touch with and use the process of automatic writing to bring the messages and guidance through and even healing. There's a couple forms of spiritual communication, two main categories actually. One is direct communication with spiritual guidance or spirit, and the other is indirect communication with spirit. Indirect communication is what most people are familiar with the mediums on television that receive a message, they interpret the message with their mind, and then they communicate that message to an audience or to a person or to a client. And that's indirect because the spiritual being is not actually in your field sharing your aura with you and speaking through you or communicating through you in more of a direct way. It's more of an indirect way. I see spirit, it's your grandmother, and she's wearing this, and she says this, and it's the medium hears it, sees it, perceives it with their intuitive seeing, feeling, hearing, and knowing, and then they interpret that with their mind, their intellect, and then they communicate that with their voice typically, and whatever language that they use. But the difference is with direct spirit communication. Direct communication is where the being comes directly into our field, into our aura, into our energy field, into our body, you might say. Now, some of you are thinking, is this spirit possessing me? What about possession? What about the negative spirits? What about the evil spirits? What about all of this? Well, truly, we've had a disconnect from spirit and with spirit and even Source God Almighty for so many millennia, eons, thousands and thousands of years, prehistory. It goes all the way back. This experience of duality, this experience of opposites where there's good and bad and right and wrong and these polarities that we experience as human beings. Now that opens up a whole nother topic that we could talk about another time. But it relates to our spiritual guidance and contacting spirit, and especially direct communication where we invite the spirit into our field, our aura, our energy to share it with us and essentially give them permission to use our body, our physicality in some way to communicate. And that's through voice, through writing, channeled writing, automatic writing that I'm going to talk to you about. It could be dance, it could be channeled art, it could be... This is typically what's thought of as channeling, is when the being comes into the field, the spirit, and actually channels expression through your physicality. Now, on the topic of possession and evil and bad spirits and all these kinds of things, it's prevalent. Probably the majority of people who are open to spirituality and spiritual concepts probably, I'm guessing, believe that it's possible for us to have contact with spirit and for that spirit to come in a less beneficial way, or that there's higher and lower spirits and negative spirits and such. And that's okay. I mean, it's been in the collective consciousness of Earth for so long. It's created a true divide between spirit and humanity. It's created a true discord in the hearts of humanity. Truth is, and just entertain this because it's my truth, it's what I found to be true in all my spirit encounters and the hundreds of groups I've led, connecting people directly with spirit, is that spirit is all loving, all benevolent, here for our highest benefit and all spirits are true, pure love, because they don't have the physicality that we do. You see, we are spirit in physical form. We are soul in physical form. So we have mental field, emotional field, physical field, all the different fields that make up this beautiful physical experience. But the spirits that are coming to communicate with us and with direct communication come in and channel and express themselves through our physicality. They are bodiless. They don't have the emotional field, the mental field, the physical field that we do. So they actually, under that reasoning and logic, they don't have the capacity for evil and these kinds of things, because evil's more of a emotional experience, isn't it? Attached to a thought about something and discerning it or judging it as evil or good. And isn't everybody's perspective of what good is and what bad is different? You know, you will think what's good could be different from what your parents think is good, or your colleagues think is good, or your friends or your children think is good, and likewise with bad. So if we can go into spiritual experiences, just at the very least, if you believe in the law of attraction, focus on the all-loving spiritual experience, the all-loving spirit that will come to you, through you, and communicate messages to guide you and healing, to help you. Just focus on what you do want, focus on the loving experience of spirit, and that's what you'll experience under the law of attraction that's been so popular. Now, we've got the indirect form of communication, which is more of a delay. I see spirit, I hear spirit, feel spirit, know spirit, and then I interpret that with my mind and I communicate that to an audience, a client, a group, etc. And then there's direct communication, which is where the spirit actually directly comes in and shares our space, our field, comes in energetically to our body. And it's not possession, but it feels like, you know, the spirit's really with us. Have you ever had a feeling like that? Like there was just a presence and it was strong, and maybe you felt you were even one with that presence. And that oneness with spirit is where spirit can then directly communicate through you and express itself directly, because you're one with spirit. All it takes is just giving the spirit permission to come through. In this case, it is to write. It could be pen on paper. It could be keyboard on a computer. But we're given spirit permission to come in, release, and then to write messages it has for you or answer your questions, etc. Another popular form of direct communication that I have a program for, the Miracle of Voice Channeling Spirit program, is voice channeling or voice mediumship, where when the spirit comes in directly, it will then use your voice to communicate. But the writing is probably more popular, and it's probably more accessible for most of you to do than the voice channeling. So let's start with the automatic writing or channeled writing, okay? First thing to remember is create space. So you start with creating your space. You know, you might put on a little, you know, meditative music. Create an ambiance. You might light a candle or two. Now, this is only to cultivate a feeling of clarity within yourself. Oftentimes we light a candle, we put on some music, a little essential oil smell or incense or something, and it stimulates the senses and lets us let go of the day. Now, it will also help for you to have a clearing meditation, some kind of meditation, guided meditation that you can listen to or guide yourself through, or have someone guide you through, that will help you to clear the mind, clear the emotion, relax the body, so you can connect to your spirit and invite spirit in, your higher power, to communicate through your writing and deliver messages. Now, I have a meditation that is free. Sign up for my newsletter on my website and you'll get it. It's a 13 chakra grounding and clearing meditation, and you can use that, and that'll help you to clear. before you go into the channeling space. It just helps to release everything. Everything from the day, the week, the month, basically our whole life. Just release it all so we can be present in the moment of now to truly be that clear vessel for the Spirit. And then we'll be more accurate, it'll feel more tangible, powerful, and you'll get more useful information from the Spirit through writing. And it can also be healing. So step one is create the ambiance, the aura of your space. You might even take a bath first. By the way, exercise or body movement also helps to clear your aura. So you may do a yoga or a walk or something like that. Step two is going to be for you to have an intention going into it. Now that you've created the space, you've used some meditation or technique to clear yourself, you're ready to receive, you're grounded, and remember, we're doing this in body. Some spiritual practices teach you to go out of body. Just be present in your body, feel your feet, wiggle your toes. It helps you to have a more potent and accurate experience when you're grounded. Okay, so you're clear, you've got your ambiance, you're grounded, then you have an intention. So intention is number two. And that could be simply, hey Spirit, you know, if your belief system is spirit guides or angels or animal guides or a deceased loved one or God Almighty, whatever your word for it is, we want you to connect with that experience of Spirit. So you can invite that experience of Spirit into your space, into your aura, and to express itself through you. So you get in touch with that form of Spirit you're connecting with. And keep in mind, you know, you might intend to connect with your spirit guides, but maybe it's your highest benefit that a deceased loved one comes to you and shares. So be open to the form of Spirit that comes to you, but it's still nice to have an intention for that point of contact. So you have that in mind, then you have some questions for the Spirit in mind. 4 life quadrants. You've got life purpose, which is career, which is passion, which is, you know, your contribution to the planet in whatever way that you are doing, that may be dispassionate, and even may be that you want to do, that you are more passionate about. So it could be a career that you'd like to get out of, and it could be then a career that you want to get into. But life purpose is all inclusive of all of it. Even if we don't like what we're doing, it's part of our purpose. We're doing it. Questions about that. Questions about relationships, especially significant other. Questions about money and abundance, because that is directly related to our survival as a human being, our physicality, right? Is being able to have the income and the means to buy basic needs to survive, shelter, food, drink, that kind of stuff. So that's why money is so important to us. So it's okay to address it, and please do. And then the other is health and well-being. You know, ask questions. What's going on with your health and well-being? You in perfect health? If not 100% perfect health, emotionally, mentally, physically, then go ahead and ask the Spirit about your health and well-being. Be specific, okay? And you write down, you make a list of these intentions, these questions, and then maybe read them once, twice, read them again 3 times, and just have them present. Now, you don't want to be thinking about them and fixating on them, because that can kind of get in the way of the automatic writing or channel writing experience. But you do want them to be present with you, and then you can let them go. It's kind of like, you know, when you went to school, college, university, or when you've studied something, you know, it's like you think about it, you fixate on it, you maybe read it a few times, and then you let it go. Okay, so that's what we want to do with these questions. You want to read them a couple times, let them go. Give them to the Spirit. And the Spirit will answer those questions maybe. It may be for your highest benefit for them to answer something else or share something else. So just be open. Okay, so we have your intention, step 2. Step 3 is going to be surrendering to the Spirit. And what you can do at home for this is, I'll just kind of walk you through it. You take a few deep breaths, maybe in your nose, out your mouth. And when you breathe in, you imagine connecting to your body. Breathe out and expanding. Then as the breaths continue, you breathe in, imagine connecting to your soul within your body. And then you imagine connecting to the Spirit that wants to come in you. And your eyes are closed the whole time. You've got your pad of paper or your keyboard right there accessible. But you close your eyes while you bring the Spirit in. And so you surrender to the Spirit and you invite them in as you take these breaths. And you essentially are intending to surrender to the Spirit to come in and be one with the Spirit and share space with the Spirit and enjoy the loving nature of the Spirit. And you may sense it as a feeling when the Spirit comes in. It may feel like you filled up a bit, it got heavier, lighter. You may just get a little knowing. You may see something. But when you get even just a glimmer that the Spirit's in, just a sense, go ahead and take a couple more deep breaths and let that Spirit energy integrate with you. And then you can open your eyes and go ahead and rewrite the first question. So you have your questions here, and you go ahead and you read the first question while you're in this unity or oneness with the Spirit. And then on your pad of paper or your laptop, you go ahead and you write out that question again. The movement of the hands connected to the subconscious mind, which is also connected to the Spirit that's going to channel through you. So it's almost like you're anchoring the intention as well as opening the channel for the Spirit to write. If you just start writing, it helps the process of the actual channeled writing. So you write the intention or question again, and then what I'd like you to do is, for the next step, receive. Receive and imagine. Imagine if the Spirit was to answer me in this moment, what might the Spirit say to me? And as soon as something starts to come into your mind, even if it sounds like your voice or you think it's your thoughts, do not judge it or discern it now. That's for after you're totally done. Then we can discern it and think about it. But as things start coming in, just start writing them. Think of this as inspired writing. You're inspired by the energy, the feeling, the thoughts, the visions that come in. And you just keep writing, and you just keep writing, and you just keep writing until you feel there's a completion. Then you can ask further about that depending on what is written and what guidance is given, or you can go on to the next question. But whichever, you write it out. And then as you come to a completion of writing it out, you again, if I was to imagine what the Spirit might say about this, what would I imagine? And as soon as something starts coming in, you write it. The thought that, and this can work, it's just rarer, and it's not what I recommend for people, and it's not how I do automatic channeled writing, which is, some people say you just plop your hand on the paper and it's just going to like move around and write something. This way that I'm teaching you is going to produce more results more often. You'll probably get more details from the Spirit about your questions. And when you're all done and you feel completion with it, just go on to the next step, which is to celebrate, be grateful, thank the Spirit. So I'm complete with writing. Thank you, Spirit. And And the Spirit may stay with you in your field, that healing, loving energy, or you may feel the Spirit kind of move out and away. And it may happen quickly or it may happen over a period of time, but once you're at a completion, just go ahead and thank the Spirit, share a little gratitude and appreciation, no matter what you got, whether it was a word or a phrase or a sentence or a book, whatever it is, just thank the Spirit. Okay, let's go over the steps now. So, step 1, create the ambiance, create the space, create the aura in the space. Number 2, intention. Come up with your list of questions or intentions that you want from the Spirit. And then along that lines is you could also intend for healing through the energy of the Spirit. Okay? And then the next step, number 3, is really going to be a couple things. So you're surrendering to the Spirit through the whole process, and especially now on number 3. You're writing out the intention again, or the question again, surrendering to the Spirit, and then receiving. So number 3 is receiving. I'm kind of adding some other things in there as you go along, just to keep it in your thoughts and your heart. But number 3 is receiving, and that could be anywhere from a minute to an hour to all day long if you're channeling a book. And then after you receive, then you go ahead and you have gratitude with the Spirit and celebrate, and your session's complete. I would love to know how this works for you. You know, some people at first are going to get stopped up a little bit, but keep practicing. If you come up against any challenges, just comment, ask your questions. I'm here for you. Share your celebrations, your successes as well. I want to hear about those, and they help. And if you want to take this to the next level, if it works and you're resonating with it and you're wanting more, then you're definitely going to want to check out my program at the Miracle of Voice Channeling Spirit program. It's miracleofvoicechanneling.com. Thank you. I'm Jason Nelson, and my website's jasonnelson.info.